let's talk about that. Let's talk about the package. So that's the online program that you run. You're actually wearing the t-shirt right now. So
boom.
Here you go. Why did you start it? And what kind of principles did you use to guide the creation of this program?
Yeah. So when I had my back injury and I came back and I realized, okay, now I can start doing the programming again. My body is ready to move again. I started Invictus at some point, and I did the outdoor programming, then I did the training plan, I did comp train, and all those programmings. I mean, I didn't hop week by week, but I did it for a few months, and I always felt like, it makes me better as an athlete, me individual, me as a person, not everyone in general, because I had some capacity to take intensity. But then when I reflected how my body feels in that training, and when I see and know how many other people's, without sounding arrogant or egoistic, I knew I'm better than a lot of these other people's, because I'm competing and I see they're doing the same stuff as me. I was like, oh, well, these people hopefully will not get fucked up along the way. And I had that through all those the different programs, because then I was interested in okay, I think I started with Invictus back in the days. So I was like, okay, this is not giving me the feeling that this programming is easily adaptable to every one person on an individual intensity level. So I checked the next one, I checked the next one, checked the next one. And then at some point I was like, I worked for Foodspring back in the days. I had lots of great contacts. I had a lot of athletes that I talked to, because I was also in charge of managing all the athletes, ambassadors, and games athletes there. So I was like, I know around 20 people that are not following any programming at the moment. So I was like, under the line, everyone misses out this train smart, work out smarter part. This be able to read the programming for your body, for your intensity, so that you can train without getting fucked up. So I was like, contacted those 20 to 30 people. 20 people said awesome, yes, I'm definitely testing your programming. So I started putting everything into a programming. And then along the way, without even asking for feedback, they're like, this is so much different to what I used to do. This is cool. This is great. I love the fact that, and I wasn't perfect back in the days. It was I started 2 years ago, and I took the step of being a freelancer now and just being a coach and everything this February. So I quit my job at Foodspring. And at the beginning, it was not perfect. And that's the reason why I had a beta phase. And I told everyone, please, please, please give me all the feedback that you have that I need to make this project the best possible. And I'm still adapting things. But I already got feedback this feels great. I don't feel exhausted anymore so much. And then back in the days, I had to lift 5 times heavy per week. Now I'm just lifting twice, because I know Monday and Tuesday is kind of like the barbell heavy-ish day. And then we work specifically on gymnastics on Thursdays. Conditioning, wow, we're doing conditioning on on Wednesdays with a heart rate monitor. And I feel it was super weird for everyone to start working at the beginning of zone 4, because everyone texted me back hey, Pac, I have an issue. I think my body's incapable of training in zone 4. I was like, your body is definitely able to do that. You just need to slow down and tell that little ego freak in your head to just calm down and just, instead of running a 13 kilometers per hour pace, maybe run a 9 kilometer per hour pace, which feels super slow to you. Then they started doing it. It's like, oh yeah, well, that's actually working. I feel so much better. And it felt like a conditioning training, not a 45-minute zone 5 knock you out programming session. And that was actually, what was the question again? I'm always
it was talk about the package. Talk about
okay. And and then I it felt like I'm getting a part of the puzzle here, put it in, took another puzzle piece here, put everything together. And now these days when people approach me and people contact me, I'm not doing lots of marketing. My sister, who's kind of like my right hand, who always sees the red line and helps me with this administrative stuff and all the kind of things, she always annoys me. It's like, you need to be more present on the Instagram and blah, and to do a lot more marketing. But I love the fact that these days, or at the moment, people come through recommendation. So already someone told them, when you work with PAC, it feels very good for you as an athlete because it matches your body, your level, and your intensity. And then when I talk to everyone, I tell them if you work with me, get something that can measure your heart rate. Even if it's just this little, I don't like these infrared measurement things, because I think they're 10 to 20% off, but still it gives you at least some sort of line to work towards and some sort of result. I tell them it's €80. get a Garmin or a Polar, whatever, heart rate monitor. You can connect them to any smartphone these days. You don't even need the 300 euro watch.
Right.
Get it because you need it. You will read it so often in my programming. And then I started to have elite athletes. For example, one of the athletes is Moritz Fiebig. He almost qualified for the CrossFit Games as a fittest in Germany 2 years ago. And approached him was like, hey, I had a coach. It was great, but then I stopped working with him. I always had a little pain here and there, and it didn't felt like correct for me because intensity-wise, it was sometimes not enough, sometimes too much, and it felt I'm not happy. So I heard the way you're working, let me try it. I want to see it. And ever since we're doing that, it's so great to see someone like, he's really fit. The other day we just did friendly friend and he did it in 4:20, and I was just standing there. I was like, wait a second, let me check what they did at the games. And it was like, oh, well, this would have been place 12, I think, from the top 20. I was like, okay, now we're talking. And, but still, he was an elite athlete and his brain was so fucked up. And still today, I see him doing stuff on Instagram. And I call him, I was like, dude, did your ego just went through with you a little bit again? I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. And also elite athletes who have a coach and work with other people still do too much. When I program a week for him, I put all the intensity and resting and pausing and accessory and heavy lifting and weightlifting, barbell cycling into the week so that it works out for him. But still sometimes, because people are I was used to that as well. All in, all out, every day in the gym, and pulling people back because we are having a long-term goal, and this is not achieved in 1 or 2 weeks. It's achieved within, my sister, for example, she wants to be an elite athlete. And I told her, you want to do that? We can do that. I need the next 3 to 4 years of your life. Otherwise, I cannot make you that fit in 6 months. It's literally impossible. Same thing I told to Moritz. You want to go to the games? Okay, this is going to be a long-term project. We need to at least, you're on a very, very, very high level, but still, I think we need another 2 years to fix a lot of stuff to make you work towards that. And this again brings my methodology again up, even with elite athletes. They have an individual programming, individual intensity, individual way of training. And when they read a programming and when they see a programming, they need to understand how it works for them. So if you, for example, would start working with me tomorrow, it would take you 1 or 2 or 3 days to realize, okay, this is how the programming is actually working. You would have a heart rate monitor. You would read all my tips, which I have in TrueCoach. It says like, okay, this is for time, but not intensity. Then in the next step, I'm writing not for intensity means it should be 60 to 70%. So you should be able to catch a breath within a few seconds, blah, blah, blah. But I have to do that so that people understand, okay, my coach thought about it. It's not in my responsibility to take the decision, okay, how much resting should I do? Because it's written here. And then I have a heart rate monitor on, which says like, oh my gosh, I'm running towards zone 5. My coach doesn't like that. Okay, I need to take back my pace. And when you start doing that, you feel so much more relieved. It feels very good for your body and you're still seeing constant progress. Kevin Winkens is a good example. He's one of the fittest in Germany throughout the last years. And then actually at some point he approached me and was like, I want to do your programming. And I still, until this day, I'm like, yeah, but you're already that good. Maybe there's another, why do you want to work with me? It's like, I have good recommendations and I love the way you're approaching this whole topic. And I'm following the programming at the moment and it makes me feel super tired. I'm pretty much lifting every day. I'm touching a barbell, in my opinion, way too often because let's be honest, I'm writing a CrossFit programming. My programming is not a weightlifting programming or a strength programming. It's not a running programming. Yes, we specifically work in few phases more on this and more on that, but in general, it's a CrossFit programming. He started working with me and then he looks at the first week of the program and is like, are you sure I should just lift twice per week? It just doesn't feel right. I was like, dude, let's have it. Test it for 2 months, okay? You're a pro athlete. Usually I just have 2 weeks of people testing my program. By the way, I have a surprise for you guys. Everyone who's listening to Tap Podcast, when you go to my webpage, you can sign up for the free trial and then you can click got to know through an athlete Instagram recommendation and I will add your podcast. And if someone clicks that answer, instead of 2 weeks, he's getting 4 weeks of free training so you can test my programming for a full month.
That's awesome, man. Thanks a lot.
yeah, just to give something back to your follower base.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, so I gave 2 months to him, and then after 2 months, he was having a testing week, and then all of a sudden he increased his snatch, he increased his squat clean, which was the same over the last 2 years, by 5 kilograms. And when you're already, I think he lifted, was it 160 or 155? Oh, I'm not sure. Let's say it's 155 to be on the sure side. He's very small. He weighs, I think, 75 to 80 kilograms. Okay, or let's say 80 kilograms. So he's not, pretty so light. 150 is a decent number for him. Mm-hmm. And so we are already working towards the maximum his body is probably able of moving as a CrossFitter. And then adding 5 kilograms on your lift is actually massive. If you look at pro weightlifters, they are happy if they can increase their lift by 1 or 2 kilograms after a season. 1 or 2 kilograms. This is just insane. And he increased it by 5 kilograms. Obviously, he's a CrossFitter. But then he was, okay, you got me hooked. Let's do this. I feel good. I sleep better. I don't feel overwhelmed. I love the fact that I don't need to touch a barbell 5 times per week, because I also love doing all the other stuff like this gymnastics, working with dumbbells, working with high skill movements and that kind of stuff. He got hooked. And ever since, my programming is running really well. It's not like I have millions of people contacting me every day, but I have constant increase of people. And I actually like that, because I have an individual contact to everyone. I'm contacting each and every person that comes to me. They are all in a WhatsApp group. So we are exchanging videos. I'm quite often sending a selfie video into the programming, because if we have a deload week, we need to touch that topic quickly. Deload week is probably one of the funniest things that I have in my programming, because everyone knows about it. Everyone thinks he's doing it, but I would say 8 out of 10 people are not really doing a deload week. To me, so for me, it's always 8 weeks. So we're building up in 8 weeks, and then we have a deload week. And a deload week for me means 2 days of your week is zero. Nothing, nada, niente. You're doing nothing at all. Usually in my programming, we have 2 days off. And at that one off day, sometimes I do a little bit of recovery training, like swimming or like running on a very low pace, or do mobility, do yoga, whatsoever. But on a deload week, there's 2 days of doing nothing at all. And on the usually active recovery day, I maximum allow them to do mobility. So it's actually another rest day. Right. So they have 3 rest days. And in this very fast environment, and in everything that is happening on Instagram and everywhere, where people think like they need to train way more than they're actually doing, putting people now on a deload week is like, this freaks me out. I cannot do that. This is just driving me nuts. So fuck, I can't, no. 3 days of not training. And then I see, because I obviously follow all those people on Instagram as well, and I see them doing something that is not in my program. I was like, could it be that your 3rd rest day ended up being a friend session with someone else? Yeah, sorry, I'm packed, but I felt so good, and I wanted to train and blah. And I was like, see, you let's have it like this. I don't want it says it sounds hard. Fucked it up this time, because now it is, let's say, the 6th day of the week, and your body starts to feel really good. Just imagine how good your body would feel if we have another 24 hours of giving your system and your body, and especially your nerve system, more rest. Your body can just adapt while doing nothing, while resting. We need that. Your system needs to be able to calm down at some point. And then he looks at me and is like, yeah, well, that's actually correct, but I've never said that before. And that's the reason why we're doing the deload week. And now having someone like Kevin Winkens with me, who's a pro athlete, to all those people, and he's like putting a selfie video into the WhatsApp group. It's like, hey, dudes, hey, guys, I'm doing deload. I'm so happy that I have 3 days off, and on my 3rd rest day, honestly, you know what I will do? I'll get my Ben & Jerry's. I will sit on the couch and I just play whatever, PlayStation, just walk around with my dog, do all the stuff that I can actually not do when training so much. And then people finally start to realize what a deload week is. And now that people are doing it, they're like, this deload stuff is actually quite fun. This is actually quite good. And the next thing I'm doing is my deload week, 90% of the time looks completely similar. So if you would work with me and it would be deload, you know how the deload week looks like. And I mean like what it looks like, the actual movements and what is coming when throughout the week, because I want to make it easier for people to recreate the same feeling in every deload week. Sometimes I just adapt one or two things, just minor things, but in general, it's the same deload week, so that everyone is, I did that deload week 3 times already. I know how that session should feel like. I know that I fucked up this session, even though he said it should be 60%. I probably did 80%, and last time I felt a little bit exhausted. So I know I need to put my intensity down, just giving people more possibilities to understand how each session should feel like, so that in the end, under the line, they're like, check, I did a deload week, and then, oh hell yeah, let's get to the next phase of the training and just crush it.
What are some of the, maybe through time, can you talk about the evolution of your programming through the pack, and maybe the common mistakes that you did early on in programming CrossFit programs, and maybe mistakes that you still see coaches do today?
Yeah. So one of the bigger mistakes I would say at the beginning was I thought, okay, I know pretty much what I want to do, so let's write it down and let's make people do that. And then they text me in the first 1 or 2 weeks like, Pack, if you want to continue like this, this is not going to work out. I was like, why? Your sessions just take 3 hours. Because sometimes when I was writing it, I was like, that sounds like they can do it in 90 minutes easily. So I realized, okay, wait a second. Maybe just because I'm very effective in the gym, and because I mainly train alone or with my sister. And we know when it's training, it's not chit-chatting and stuff like this, because I want to get the shit done. We can't do chit-chatting afterwards. So I realized, okay, and I just tested just a few things, because I'm usually very good, because I also did I wrote the programming for a competition called Swiss Alpine Battle. So I was already good with doing programming, but this was just always just one workout. It was not a programming. So I realized along the way, okay, wait a second. Maybe I need to take a little bit of a step back for me and my training, and I need to test a lot more things. I need to test, how does this feel like in combination with this? How long is this going to take me in the programming? And along the way, with the feedback I got from the first 20 people, and I'm very thankful to all of these people, I learned. Now these days, I can write you a programming. I can write you a session that takes 90 minutes. I can also write you a session that takes 3 hours. But this is just something I had to learn. Also along the way, because of my injuries and because of what I did in the past, I know where and how to put certain intensities and how to put certain volumes, talking about weight especially, how heavy you should move stuff, and how your system is probably going to react to that. That's also something that throughout my athlete career, I had to learn, and I learned the hard way. And I then had also had to learn to implement that into the training. And this is also something I had to get with exchange from people. Like when you have 20 people trying the programming, that's already fairly a lot. And these 20 people are all different. There's very light people, there's skinny people, there's muscular people, there's older athletes, there's younger athletes. And the average out of everything made me realize how to put intensity and where to put what kind of stuff. And then, again, still working with people, listening. I also showed my programming to pro athletes, and then they're like, tell me what you think. I showed it to Adrian. Quite often, sometimes I'm sitting down with him, like, hey, how would you do that? How would you do that? I see you doing this. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that in that certain order? And all that kind of stuff just floats into my programming, and I still think it's not perfect. I still think we can still improve a lot of stuff. But I think under the line, I created something that is very good for every athlete. I have 3 different levels. I have the generic, which is for people who did a competition already, a smaller one, who want to do a little bit more, don't have that much time, can only train 5 times per week. Then I have something that is called the Magic Power Programming, because Kevin is got the Magic Power on Instagram. So I call it the Magic Power Programming, because it's basically what I would program for someone like him, a pro athlete. And you can buy this programming in 2 versions, which is the standard, which is just 5 sessions per week again, but each session is longer. It has more intensity and more volume for someone who already competes on a regular basis. And then I have the Magic Power Pro version, which is like someone who is really moving towards, or like who is a pro athlete, who wants a programming. And this is 8 to 9 sessions per week, and that kind of stuff. And along the way, with all the stuff that people gave me as feedback and what I had experienced through my own way of being an athlete and injuries and whatsoever, that helped me developing the programming.